I'd like to call the Monday, October 23rd, 2017 Planning Commission meeting to order. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'd like to welcome everybody that's here this evening and watching this evening. I'll go through the agenda for this evening's meeting. The items, consent agenda, a rezoning and conditional use permit for Tidal Wave Auto Spa, and that the applicant has requested a continuation for that. Have a planned unit development final plan and final plat for the estates at Chapman Farms. Final plat for Parkway Estates, PRO and the 27th plat. Final plat for Tequesta Village, lots 1 through 3. Other business and adjournment. At this time, would entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Graham and a second by Commissioner Peil. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Item 2 and 3, the public hearing rezoning for Tidal Wave Auto Spa. They have requested the continuation to the November 27th meeting, and also a public hearing for the same entity on a conditional use permit for Tidal Wave Auto. I would entertain a motion to continue these two items together in one motion.
Mr. Chair.
Chairman McHugh.
I move that rezoning request RZ 08175944 and conditional use permit CUP 08175945 be continued to the November 27th meeting of the Planning Commission.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Casey. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It will be continued until the November 27th Planning Commission meeting. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Items 4 and 5. We will hear those together. Mr. Wright will present those both. It's planned unit development final plan for estates at Chapman Farm, and number 5 is the final plat for the estate at Chapman Farms. Mr.
All right, thank you, Chairman Haney and Commissioners. Before you this evening are 2 requests related to the estates at Chapman Farms. The first request is for a PUD final plan for the 2nd and 3rd phases of the estates, which does include the 2nd phase, which is located on the south side of the 1st phase, and then the 3rd phase is located to the north. The PUD final plan is in substantial compliance with the PUD concept plan and preliminary plat, with the exception of a few minor modifications, primarily in the 3rd phase. The first modification is the shortening of Southwest 11th Street Court. Originally, it would have matched the cul-de-sac here, but they did reduce that due to the drainage area that runs up in this area. So that has reduced the number of lots along that cul-de-sac from 6 to 5. The second modification is a rerouting of the perimeter trail system that was approved on the concept plan and preliminary plat. The reason for both modifications is to try to preserve the existing trees, which you can see on there the outline of the existing vegetation, and then the stream buffer that's up in this area that they are trying to remain out of. So the trail system originally would have looped around here, but instead they are, sorry, I'm drawing all over the place. There's the trail would loop there along the west property line down to the cul-de-sac. And then in the first plat, there's a trail system that comes up this direction. So that would be an 8-foot asphalt trail. In the first phase and then down into the second phase, there's also a trail that will loop that. So there will basically be a U shape through the development. And then there's a 4-foot sidewalk system that will connect here. So there's still a linear or perimeter path around there. Most of it's going to be a trail, but the north portion of it will be through the sidewalk system. And then all trail and sidewalk sections in the common tracts will need to be financially guaranteed prior to approval of the final plat. And then the trail sections that are adjacent to the lots here, this is another part of the trail section. Lots 42, 43, and 44 will have to install those install their trail sections prior to approval of a certificate of occupancy for each one of those homes. All minimum lot sizes, widths, and building setbacks have been met, and street trees are required to be installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for each lot. The minimum livable floor area for the subdivision is 1,700 square feet for 3-car garage ranches, and 2,300 square feet for all other homes, which does include a minimum of 1,000 square feet on the main level. The architectural character will be consistent with the homes that have been built in the first phase. These are some of the images there, a mix of ranch homes, 1.5 and 2-story homes. The declaration of restrictions in the first plat must be extended to the second and third plats. And then the second request is for a final plat for just the second phase. And that does include 38 lots and 2 tracts with a total of 22.97 acres. Required sidewalk sections, trails, lot landscaping, and street trees must be installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for each lot. And all public improvements must be completed prior to approval of the final plat by the City Council. A financial guarantee for the portion of the trail in the second plat must be submitted prior to approval of the City Council. And then the final plat, amended CC&Rs, and development maintenance agreement must be approved and recorded prior to approval of any building permits within the second plat. Staff does recommend approval of the PUD final plan with 15 conditions and approval of the final plat with 12 conditions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Wright?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Field?
Mr. Wright, will the plat number 3 impede extending Moreland School Road past that development or up to that development in the future?
Moreland School Road isn't adjacent to this development.
What is that?
Mason School.
Mason School, sorry.
Mason School, if that were to continue on, would actually be on the property to the north. But more than likely, even if Mason School were extended at some point in the future, would probably veer to the northwest due to the stream buffer that's in that area. So, but there are no plans right now to do that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else have a question? Hearing none. The applicant like to make their presentation.
Kevin Henry, representing the applicant DAK Realty Devco. I really don't have anything additional to add, just more or less here if you have any questions for me.
Does anyone have a question for the applicant? Hearing none.
Thanks.
Thank you. Would anybody have other questions, comments, or motions? Or
Mr. Chair? Are we voting these separately or?
Separately, yes. The first vote will be on the planned unit development final plan.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Peil.
I would like to make movement for planned unit development final plan PUDF 1017-6057, second and third plat for estates at Chapman Farm, and the 15 conditions be approved.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Graham. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Aye for myself. Yeah, I'll ask for a motion on the final plat, the estates at Chapman Farm.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Peil?
I move that final plat PF 08175986 for the estate for Chapman Farms be approved with the 12 conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sanders. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Hearing none. Motion passed, approved. Thank you. Well, now here on item 6, Parkway Estates, PRO 27th plat. And Mr. Wright, you're up again.
All right, thank you, Chairman Haney and Commissioners. This is a request for approval of a final plat for Parkway Estates 27th plat. This is the final plat of Parkway Estates and will include 26 lots and one tract on 9.06 acres, located in the northeast corner of Parkway Estates, which is adjacent to the Pines. All required infrastructure improvements have been completed on this property. Sidewalk sections, lot landscaping, and street trees are required to be installed prior to issuances of a certificate of occupancy for each lot. All 26 lots have a minimum floor area of 2,400 square feet, which is Class B, and the amended conditions, covenants, and restrictions must be recorded with the final plat. And the final plat and a development and maintenance agreement must be approved by the City Council and recorded prior to approval of building permits on any lots within the 27th plat. Staff does recommend approval of the final plat with 6 conditions. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
any
waiting
questions?
for some more. Is there any questions of Mr. Wright? Hearing none. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Would the applicant like to step forward? Mr. Sallee?
I'm Randy Sallee with R.L. Sallee Real Estate Investments, and just here to answer any questions that the Planning Commission might have. It's a continuation of Parkway Estates, and this, as Matt said, would be the final plat of that development, which would be the last 26 lots of the original platted 209 lots.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Sallee? Hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Graham.
I would like to move for approval of PF 09-17-6044 Parkway Estates PRO 27th plat, lots 88 through 113 and tract Q2 with the 6 staff conditions.
And
Second.
Chairman by Commissioner Eagle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Hearing none, the motion's approved. That final plat will be heard by the City Council at their November 6th meeting coming up. And we'll move to next item. Final plat, am I missing? No, final plat for Tequesta Village, lots 1 through 3, tracts A and B. And I believe Mr. Allen will make a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Again, before you this evening is a request for final plat approval for Tequesta Village, lots 1 through 3, tracks A and B. The site, as shown here, is approximately 15.5 acres, encompassing 3 lots and 2 tracks. It is zoned MF10, low-density multifamily. And just a little reminder of the history here. Preliminary plat for Tequesta Village was approved in May of this year. And site plan design review just last month was brought before you and approved at that time. Again, this is also the first and only final plat for Tequesta Village. It will include 31 multifamily buildings, 423 dwelling units in 3, 4, and 5 plexes. The tracks or open spaces will include clubhouse and pool, among other amenities, and encompassing approximately 2.3 acres. And again, qualified as open space. So just some brief background as well on this. Floor area classification is not required for multifamily developments. However, the approved floor plans through the site plan design review approval do provide a minimum of 1,296 square feet little floor area per unit there. Proposed street layout, I'll show that here just briefly, does match the approved preliminary plat. As you can see, it is Southeast Gingerbread Court, which will connect AA back to the existing stub of Southeast Gingerbread Lane. With that, again, as I mentioned, there are going to be some amenities included in the open space, which will include the swimming pool, clubhouse, trails, detention pond, landscaping, and fencing. At this time, there is financial guarantee required for that or construction thereof prior to final plat being approved and recorded. Obviously, that has not yet been completed, but project is currently underway if you've driven by there recently. So with that, there are 7 conditions. Staff is recommending approval of this with those conditions. There are 3 in particular I do want to reference. Conditions 2, 3, and 4 do reference the prior to final plat approval. Again, that is pointing to the City Council final plat approval, since Planning Commission is recommending body in this case. So again, the applicant does have 2 weeks in advance of the November 6th to have those completed or financially guaranteed. Is in the process of doing that. Otherwise, it would need to be continued from that November 6th meeting. And again, those being the common open space tracks, the public improvements and detention, and then also the detention basin, essentially as-built as well, part of the development and maintenance agreement. So with that, again, staff does recommend approval with those 7 conditions, again, highlighting conditions 2, 3, and 4 as requiring further action from the applicant in advance of the November 6th City Council meeting. Certainly try to answer any questions if you happen to have any.
Does anyone have a question of staff? Hearing none?
Thank you.
Mr. Allen. Up here, does anyone have any comments, questions, motion? I think I'm ahead of myself, trying to go a little too fast here. The applicant, would you like to make a presentation? I apologize, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Patricia Jensen with the White Goss Law Firm. Here today on behalf of Tequesta Village, or Tequesta Development, and with me is Mr. Byron Mertz, who represents Tequesta Development. As Mr. Allen indicated, this is the final plat approval for Tequesta Village, which merely implements what's been previously approved by this commission and the City Council. We are in agreement with those 7 conditions listed in your staff report, and we are working on getting roads installed and public infrastructure installed, and anticipate having that done unless the weather decides to rain for the next 2 weeks. So all the financial guarantees have been delivered. We delivered to Mr. Dagenhart executed copies of the development and maintenance agreement tonight. So all those items have been completed, but we would request that you recommend approval subject to the conditions listed in your staff report.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions to the applicant?
Mr. Chairman.
Ma'am, you want to have a question, Commissioner Craddolph?
Could you explain how you would accommodate the disabled at your clubhouse? Do you have any particular ramps or restroom
I'm
accommodations
going to have Mr.
for the
Mertz answer
disabled?
that question.
I think I can speak on that. We will be submitting our design plan and building plans here in the near future for the city to review, and it is being held by commercial code, so I think it does address those items that you're concerned about.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant? Hear none. Thank you. Does anyone have any comment, question, or make, or motion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Peil?
I move that final plat PF 10176054 for Tequesta Village, along with the 7 conditions, be approved as submitted by staff.
Have
Second.
a motion to have a second. Let's get back in. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion passed. The final plat will be heard by the City Council on the November 6th meeting.
Thank you.
Any other business?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just wanted to give a quick highlight of the upcoming agenda, which will be for the meeting on Monday, November 13th. Again, that is 3 weeks from tonight. We do have a 5th Monday next Monday, so a little bit of a extended time before we meet again. For that agenda, right now we have one public hearing, and that is a conditional use permit for Orchland Farm and Home. That is being proposed to move into the just recently vacated Price Chopper South. So that's the intention at that point. And again, the conditional use permit is essentially looking at their outdoor sales area. They are looking at something a little bit more year-round to have out in the parking lot. And so the conditional use permit is required with a new code for that. So it's not something you normally had seen, for example, North Price Chopper with their garden area or Westlake with their areas. But since this is a new use under the new code, there's a conditional use permit required. So it's a little background just for you on that. We also have Sunny Point, second plat. So we're seeing long deferred and delayed plat and subdivision up off of Northwest Artie Vise, north of, just south of Pink Hill Road and 39th Street, that intersection there, near the Sunny Point Elementary and Paul Kinder Middle School. So just kind of orient yourself geographically. That again has been many years delayed and is now coming forward for the second plat here. We also have second plat of Colonial Highlands, south part of the city, and I believe that's Sallee Homes as well, through that continuation of their development down there. So a good mix, a couple residential and one new business coming to town for the November 13th meeting. Additionally, I do want to add that Commissioner Peil, Commissioner Fairbanks, our Associate Planner Nathan Jury, and me, we just returned from the Missouri State Planning Conference that was held last Wednesday through Friday, and I believe it was well attended and very excellent. We'll be providing our summary of the sessions we attended. There were 3 different tracks at any given time, so breakout sessions. So we were well covered, I believe, with every session was attended by at least one of us. So we'll have a very thorough, comprehensive report for you for the next meeting. So that's our plan. So that's all I have. I know with Commissioner Billups not here at the moment, I do want to mention there's Stranger Springs is kind of a pub crawl occurring this Saturday. And I know there are tickets available at various downtown merchants. So I do want to throw that in since he's not present. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I do have the Public Safety Citizens Advisory Board is sponsoring a public forum on mental health resources and suicide awareness on Tuesday, November 14th, 6:30 p.m. here in the Public Safety Building. Presentations by Comprehensive Mental Health, the Blue Springs Police Department, crisis counselors, intervention officers, the Blue Springs School District, and Allie Doss, co-founder of Speak Up, make everybody aware of that forum coming up on Tuesday, November 14th at 6:30 here. Does anyone else have any?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask Mr. Allen, is there a developers meeting on October 25th or something scheduled, or has that been canceled and moved?
Correct. Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Peil, thank you for mentioning that. I was just going to mention that as well. I did note at previous meetings that we had originally planned our annual developers workshop for tomorrow, but we have since delayed that to Tuesday, December 6th. Is it December 6th? Yes. Wednesday. Wednesday, December 6th. So it's about a 6-week delay, but it'll be here before you know it. But that again has given staff some time to further enhance and improve the program and such. And look forward to hosting folks. It'll be invitation only, but certainly look for yours in the mail or email here shortly. So I know Ms. Fendora is working on some sort of save the dates and informational materials to send out. So you'll see something here shortly.
All right, thank you, Scott. Also, Mr. Chair, I'd like to advise the commission that I believe there was 275 people that attended the Missouri State Conference, which was more than they had last year. So I think it was a very good showing. The sessions were very good, very well put together. Rooms were a little cold, but everything else was spectacular. The location was great. Actually, you didn't have to leave the hotel at all. You could eat there and whatever. It was just very good, very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other business?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
our Solid Waste Commission met last week, and the meeting I thought went very well. The residents showed up and they were able to express themselves about how they felt about the recycling center closing. And we're going to move forward, and the commissioners are going to discuss further what they think about our recycling efforts. So we're on the move there, and everything's going well in that area.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Any other business? If not, the next scheduled meeting, Monday, November 13th, 2017. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Mr. Graham. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.